Caring for someone living with dementia is a journey that's full of challenges, and one of the toughest is when they stop eating. If this is where you or your loved one find yourself, don't panic. There are ways to support them and yourself during this emotional time. I even have special resources that answer this question and more about managing eating challenges in dementia, so be sure to stay tuned to the end to learn more about those. In this video, I will share strategies, support, and a reminder to take care of your own heart as you navigate this bittersweet chapter. The reason that I wanted to focus on this topic today is because this is always a really tough time for family and friends of a person living with dementia. And I wanted to share with you why people with dementia stop eating and drinking, what to do if the person will drink but not eat, what you can do to support them, and to share resources to help guide you through this time with a reminder to take care of yourself as you walk through this journey of grief, loss, and bereavement. If you have any questions about this topic, please let me know in the comments below as we go. But the truth is, eventually in dementia, people are going to stop eating and drinking. The ability to feed yourself is the first thing that you learn to do in childhood, and it's the last ability that's lost as this disease progresses. And when this starts to happen, it's usually a very clear sign that the person is or has entered what we call end-stage dementia. If you're watching this video, you may be caring for a loved one with dementia who has stopped eating and drinking. And first, let me say that I know that this can feel overwhelming and heartbreaking, but you're not alone. And today I'm going to walk you through why this happens, what you can do to support them, and where you can turn to for help. It's also very important for you to understand and to know that this isn't about your loved one giving up. It's actually their body's natural response as dementia progresses. And just knowing this can sometimes help you approach the situation with more understanding and love. Dementia is a terminal illness. People don't die from dehydration and starvation. The disease called dementia does this to them in the very end stages. And there's been quite a bit of research that shows that this isn't a painful process for the person. The body shuts down and actually protects them from feeling any pain. Where the pain and discomfort can come in is when we start forcing food and fluids on a body that dementia is taking away from us very slowly. So first of all, why do people with dementia stop eating and drinking? Well, in the later stages of this disease, the brain undergoes significant changes. These changes can really affect the body's ability to recognize hunger or thirst, to swallow safely, or even coordinate the motor skills that are needed to eat and drink. And here's why this might happen. First, a loss of appetite. Their body may no longer feel the need for food or fluids. Secondly, they may have difficulty swallowing. This is known as dysphagia, and it can make eating or drinking uncomfortable or even unsafe. Third is fatigue. Eating can just feel like too much effort. And then lastly, end-of-life transition. When the body begins to shut down naturally, the need for food and water just diminishes. So what can we do if the person will drink but not eat? Using drinks is actually a really important strategy, and you may get better results when you use a straw. And that's because in advanced dementia, the sucking reflex comes back, so we can actually use that reflex to help them drink and take in more calories. I've actually seen a lot of people in my career who just completely stopped eating food, but they would drink for months to years. So when this happens, we just need to give them everything that they will drink as calories. So for example, if they will only drink, don't give them unsweetened tea or water. Always make sure that it's either sweet tea, or give them a milkshake or a glucerna or a boost. And if they don't like or they can't tolerate dairy, there are other types of supplements that are carbonated. Because the goal with a person like this is to keep their caloric intake as high as possible. So you might need to work with a registered dietitian to find out exactly how many cans of the liquid supplement that you're using, how many cans they're going to need. And then you focus on getting those into the person, and food actually becomes secondary and is really just a comfort measure. So if you're getting value out of this video, please share it with someone else who could benefit from this information, and hit the like button. Now let's talk about what you can do to support them. So even though this person may stop eating or drinking, there are still ways that we can provide comfort and care. First, we can offer small sips or bites if they're willing. So you can try soft, easy to swallow foods like applesauce, pudding, or even a spoonful of broth. But the point is, you don't want to push it. Just let their response guide you. Second, you can keep their mouth moist. You can use a damp sponge or a swab to gently moisten their lips or their mouth, and this can just prevent the discomfort that happens from dryness. Thirdly, focus on connection. Meal times can still be moments of closeness, so you can sit with them, hold their hand, play soothing music, basically just create a peaceful environment where you are together with them. And then the last thing to do is to consult with their care team. So be sure that you're talking to their medical providers, hospice team, even maybe having them evaluated by a speech therapist about safe ways to support their comfort. And most importantly, remember, this isn't about forcing or fixing. It's about being present and offering love in whatever they need. Now let's go over some resources that can help guide you through this time. So like I said, this is actually a really emotionally tough place for families to be, as well as the staff. If your loved one lives in a nursing home or an assisted living facility and the staff have been helping with their care, they're attached to that person as well. So I encourage you to get either a palliative care or a hospice consult and get them involved, because they can give you accurate information for the situation you're facing, and they can also provide support to you and your family members, because the situation can change from day to day, and you really need somebody who can be there to help you know and understand what's going on in that moment. The biggest thing to remember is this journey is not one that you have to walk alone. And here are some resources that can help you. First is hospice care. If your loved one isn't already enrolled in hospice, hospice teams specialize in providing comfort and guidance for end-of-life care, and they can actually be a tremendous source of support for you and your family. Secondly, local Alzheimer's and dementia organizations, because groups like the Alzheimer's Association offer caregiver support groups, they have hotlines and educational materials that you can use to better understand what's going on. Thirdly, palliative care specialists. These professionals focus on quality of life and can help manage symptoms while supporting your emotional needs. And then fourthly, either faith or a spiritual community. If your family has spiritual or religious ties, these communities often offer solace and companionship during this really difficult time. So don't hesitate to reach out to your loved one's medical team, because they are there to answer questions and to help you navigate these decisions. And now let's talk about grief, loss, and bereavement and how to take care of you too. Before we end, I just wanted to remind you that it's okay to feel a mix of emotions, including grief, confusion, and even guilt. These feelings are normal, but know this: by being present, by showing up with love and care, you're actually doing exactly what your loved one needs at this point. Grief, loss, and bereavement can feel overwhelming for caregivers as a loved one moves into end-stage dementia. So let's just define what these three terms mean. Grief is the emotional response to a significant loss. So this often involves feelings like sadness, anger, confusion, or longing. Loss is the experience of being deprived of someone or something meaningful, and whether that is through death, separation, or other life changes. But together, grief and loss are deeply personal processes that actually vary from person to person. Bereavement is the period of mourning and adjustment that follows the loss of a loved one. So this actually encompasses the emotional, physical, and spiritual responses to grief as individuals process the absence of someone significant in their lives. All of these stages bring a deep sense of loss, not just for the person that they were, but for the loss of shared routines, moments of connection, and the future you had imagined together. And it's really important to recognize a concept called anticipatory grief. And this is when mourning these losses starts actually before the physical death occurs. In fact, with a diagnosis like dementia, that's actually when all of these processes start. But it's a normal and valid part of the caregiving journey. So be sure that you allow yourself to feel these emotions, to lean on your support networks, and to remember that your care and your presence, even though it's difficult, can bring immense comfort to you and to your loved one. The choice to honor their body's natural process is actually an act of kindness. So take care of yourself during this time and don't hesitate to lean on others for support. So please leave me a comment on one thing that you learned here today that was helpful to you, or if a question came up that I didn't answer, let me know that as well. So if mealtimes with your loved one is starting to feel more like a challenge than a chance to connect, or you're worried about how much weight the person has lost and you're wondering what you should do, I just wanted to let you know that I have actually just developed an ebook and an online course called Managing Meals and Eating Challenges that are both specifically designed for family and professional caregivers. This is a practical course. It's filled with expert strategies, video demonstrations, and skills checklists that you can start using immediately. So if you're ready to make mealtimes easier, more enjoyable, and less stressful, just go to MelissaBPhD.com/courses and look for the course and ebook titled Managing Meals and Eating Challenges today.